Collective.
The Pittsburgh Penguins part ways with Mike Sullivan today, 9 a.m. Broke the news. Pittsburgh, Josh, the world we once lived in, gone, crumbled, all of it comes crashing down. Mike Sullivan, the one I would take a bullet for, gone, erased. Thoughts on Mike Sullivan getting let go of his position here in Pittsburgh?
Yeah, disappointing to see. Love the guy. I shouldn't say love the guy. I don't know the guy. Love the coach that he
Great
is.
guy, humanitarian. What a guy. Oh man. Watch my kid on the weekends. Just unreal guy.
Great father. Great role model. No, just obviously he won 2 Stanley Cups with the Penguins, over 400 wins with the Penguins alone. So, it's hard to see that success walk out the door, but at the same time, when you just look at the last several years, the writing was on the wall. Fans were growing restless, kind of needed a fall guy. So it was Hextall. Now, next, it only makes sense that it was Sullivan. So we can get into the speculation of what actually happened, what was actually said, but neither side is going to actually say it. So we're just going to go with what was said, and that it was just a mutual parting of ways.
And he said it wasn't planned, like this wasn't during this press conference that Kyle Dubas held today. It wasn't like this, hey, we've been plotting to fire Mike Sullivan. There was some moments throughout the season that Kyle Dubas noticed, hey, maybe this isn't kind of working out. Maybe we should have a conversation. But it wasn't until this past weekend that he kind of felt that, hey, this is the right call. Let's see where Mike Sullivan is on this. And they had a conversation, and it seemed like mutually, hey, maybe I'm just not the right fit for what you got going on, and vice versa for the same. It's, Mike Sullivan to Dubas and Dubas to Mike Sullivan. So he gets, released, I guess, from this torment, Josh, this torture that Mike Sullivan has been going through with this team that has just probably not been listening to him, who's not been doing the right things. And the Penguins have missed the playoffs 3 straight seasons. We get kicked out early the prior 2. It's just, it's not great, but that doesn't undermine how great Mike Sullivan is as a head coach. He has been a phenomenal head coach for the Pittsburgh Penguins. He's won 2 Stanley Cups. He's a guy. We could have won 3. We've always been in it until we weren't. And I think that's more on the players than it is on Mike Sullivan and the leadership. But that, we could agree to disagree there. I know. I think there's more attention that should be drawn to the players that don't succeed, but you need a fall guy, and I even said this past season that, if we have to let go we have to fire Mike Sullivan in order to win a Stanley Cup, and him be that sacrificial firing in order for us to do that, then I'm okay with that. And this is the first step. This is the first step in that process, even though he is a phenomenal coach, even though I still believe that he can lead this team. Kyle Dubas has a vision, and if Mike Sullivan isn't a part of that to win a Stanley Cup, then he's not a part of it, and we have to be ready for what comes next. Now, this alluded plan, for those listening, I did air quotes, we don't know what the plan is. We don't know. Even Josh and I were talking before this episode. We don't know what this plan is, this grand plan to get the Penguins back to where they need to be. Is it going to be next season? Is it going to be the year after that? Is it going to be 3 years after that? And is the new head coach going to be a big part of that? Or are we just trying to get a filler coach until we get the right
temporary
team?
Band-Aid.
What's the plan here? What's the vision? And obviously Kyle Dubas in the press conference did not go through each step of the plan to help soothe the Penguins fans' pains. But there was more little more surface level talk about the plan, about what's going on. Some crazy people asked, is Sidney Crosby leaving because Mike Sullivan is gone? And very simply put, no, he's not going anywhere. Like I said, Sidney Crosby got the phone call before the press conference, and he was aware of the situation that was going to be happening. Sidney Crosby has been through this before with Mike Johnston, Dan Bylsma, Michael Terrian. He has been through the process of coaches being let go, new coaches coming in, coaches not working out, coaches working out. Mike Sullivan definitely being one of the ones who worked out. They won two
Yeah.
Stanley Cups. They've succeeded. Um, Mike Sullivan coached against them in the Four Nations and the Olympics, and like
Mm-hmm.
Mike Sullivan is a phenomenal head coach. No one could take that away from him. Sidney Crosby also talked on Mike Sullivan today. He did an amazing job over the last 10 years here with his preparation and his commitment to winning. Personally, he pushed me to be better every day, and I learned a lot from him. We shared some great memories together, and I am grateful for his time here and everything he did for us. So it looks like Sidney Crosby's ready to turn the page. He wants to win now, and
Yeah.
I'll let you talk in a moment, Josh. But I'm just saying, Sidney Crosby is ready to move forward. Now, you can give the guy the flowers, which we're doing right now. He's a great head coach. I'd take a bullet for him. And like Josh mentioned, sometimes things have to come to an end. And just like Sidney Crosby, we have to turn the page. The Penguins are now faced with a difficult decision to who are we going to have lead this team. Not only that, this offseason, as we've been saying every single episode, is going to be a very big offseason for the Pittsburgh Penguins, and Kyle Dubas has spoke on that.
Yeah, and I mean it's funny how Mike Sullivan has ingrained himself in, Pittsburgh culture, in Penguins fans, throughout these last 10 years. I mean, granted, a lot of what he says are kind of just general expressions, but you right there were just using a Sullivanism, saying that we need to turn the page, because that is what he talks about after every hard loss. We need to turn the page. We need to get pucks deep. We need to play harder. We need to play
We
with
need
that
to make it.
swagger.
We need to have a commitment to play defense.
That's right. So those things, we joke about them,
Right.
but like at the end of the day, like it's going to be what we're going to be missing next year. So and that's where it's like it's hard. I didn't feel this way with Hextall, but it was
No.
like you don't know what you have until it's gone, type thing, and I feel like that's what it's going to be with Sullivan. So just want to just point out one thing you mentioned about Crosby being aware of the firing by like Dubas giving him a call. Just want to correct you. You said he was made aware of his firing before the press conference. He was made aware of the firing before Dubas met with Sullivan.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I didn't want us to get attacked in the comments and people saying, no, it wasn't before the press conference, but like,
It was before
so,
the meeting and the weekend.
yeah,
Yeah, that is true.
yeah,
That is
you
true.
know how that goes. So just want to put that out there, make sure that I got your back. But no, it just kind of seems like, Dubas wants to go forward with, like you said, the plan. And I guess just reading the tea leaves here, Sullivan is not a part of that plan. So,
Wild guess.
yeah,
Wild guess.
yeah, wild guess. Didn't take a whole lot of speculating with that. Again, just reading the obvious. But I mean, like you said, we're kind of just giving Sullivan his flowers. 2 Stanley Cup championships, 400 wins, greatest coach for the Pittsburgh Penguins in their history, which says a lot. Okay, says a lot.
Yeah.
We're not going to try and toot our own horn here, but one of the most prestigious hockey teams in the NHL, got 5 Stanley Cups, a plethora of greats that have come through our doors. So it's not like this is some, rinky-dink expansion team that has just opened its doors a few years ago. And
They
that's
had a
no knock
stroke of
on,
luck, you know?
yeah, and
Yeah,
that's no
it is.
knock on Seattle and Vegas.
It
Um,
is.
and I refuse to add Utah to that, but that's a whole nother story. Um, but yeah, I mean, you know, we had an episode a few weeks ago about Letang being a Hall of Famer, and there's,
Yeah.
I think, zero doubt about Sullivan being a Hall of Famer coach. Uh,
Yeah,
um,
I agree.
whatever he does next, if he does continue to coach, he's only going to continue to succeed, which is going to be hard. I saw something on Twitter that I can't agree more with. Obviously, we didn't want to see Sullivan get fired, but for all of
Right.
you that wanted Sullivan to get fired, you cannot complain when Sullivan
Right.
takes a job and then constantly beats us with that team. Because it's going to
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah.
And he's a Boston guy. He's going to take a sick pleasure in doing it. So it's just what's going to happen. And I don't, like the tweet said, I don't want to hear you guys complain because we could have kept him, but because of, I'm not going to say because of the fans, because I don't think it was truly enough of an uproar
They play
to
a pressure.
influence Dubas, but I
Yeah.
don't think it was enough. Not like Hextall. Like Hextall, it was
Hextall was
there was
Hextall was controlled by the fans. You
yeah,
know, he really
yeah,
was. Yeah, that's true.
yeah,
That is
yeah. So
very true.
that firing was controlled by the fans for sure. But like I don't think there was enough of an uproar to get Sullivan fired. So
That's a fair point. Fair
yeah,
point.
it's going to be weird. It is going to be a weird look next year on the bench because also
Yeah.
Dubas mentioned in the press conference that the assistant coaches whose contracts are currently up are going to be, free to look for other
Yes.
positions, essentially saying that they're not going to be returning. Um,
That's
so
correct.
essentially, clean slate for the new head coach who's going to be, kind of handpicking his assistants. I, I I don't know what that bench is going to look like next year, but it's going to look awfully strange not having a 6'2" Boston man chomping on a piece of gum, turning red for no apparent reason.
Yeah.
So it's
Who
a
just
it's a new
always looks
era.
mad. Yeah.
Always
Yeah.
looks mad. Always looks mad. But it's a new era in Pittsburgh. It's a shift, and this is the first domino to fall in
Yeah.
this new wave.
Yeah, and I still don't know how to act. Like it's still so fresh, and hindsight's 2020, so we won't know if this was a good move. Maybe like for 5 years, you know what I'm saying? We won't
Yeah,
know. Well, maybe 5 years is too long. So maybe a couple years, right? You know,
yeah.
obviously, if we win a Stanley Cup in a year or two, then yeah, it was a great move. It was, I mean, it was the right move, which
Yeah,
I've said before.
I
You
still
know,
think it's going to be the right move at the end of the day. Just
sure,
right now, it just feels raw, just because it's like it's
yeah,
kind of like when your best friend moves away.
yes,
It's
yeah,
like this really sucks. Like, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? And then, sure enough, you find a new
yeah,
best friend, and not
yeah.
not not taking away the memories and all of that stuff from your old best friend. It's
But
just things change. Time to move on.
time to move on. Time to turn the page. But
Nice.
I think, thank you. I think it's we will find out, and I say this all the time. I sound like a broken record, but it really is something that we will have to wait and see. Kyle Dubas mentioned in the press conference. This is something we've been saying that this is going to be a big off season for the Penguins, and
Yep.
he mentioned that there's some coaches that he's looking at that are still currently in the playoffs. There's coaches that are in you know the NCAA and are in um, the AHL and guys who are waiting in the
International.
wings, yeah, in
Mhm.
international. So he used the phrase a wide net that he is going to throw out. So he does have a list, but it's a wide net of a list. So that means it's not like you know the next guy up. It's not someone over in The Western Conference, we don't know, So
Hmm.
not only do
Well,
we need to find a
he did deny Kirk McDonald.
Kirk McDonald, who's the AHL coach for Wilkes-Barre right now.
Hmm.
He's only been there for a year, and obviously, you can argue he did a great job because the Penguins had a good, successful season. They got knocked out in the first round. We were covering it. That wasn't fun. But he obviously said he's not ready there. So there's going to be other people that get the opportunity to interview. Josh mentioned all the rest of the coaches are kind of free to do whatever they want, which is a very nice way of saying they're not welcome back. Um, so it's kind of a weird situation, and we just have to wait to see and how it plays out and how we're going to go about as a team. You need to find the leader first. So I think that's
Yep.
what we're going to get. We've been talking about it on the podcast that this offseason we need to go get some people to help this team take that next step. We believe one of them is Mitch Marner. Do you get someone that Mitch Marner likes as a head coach, that also works with our system? Kind of get kill two birds with one stone kind of situation where you get a guy that
Hmm.
Mitch Marner likes and Sidney Crosby likes, and next thing you know, we're on our next plane to go get the Stanley Cup. I think that could be a possibility. Or is it just someone that is in the NHL and we get because he's available, and we try to use him to kind of mix things up and go for a Stanley Cup? I don't know. All I know is that we're gonna have to wait and see, and it's not going to
Yeah.
be soon. So
Yeah,
it's
because
April
I think
28th.
he
Go ahead.
said by the end of May he would like to have the like in person
Right.
interviews completed as well. So it'll be a still rather quick process because he said by the middle of June, but early to mid June I think is what he said that he would like
He
to
would
have a
like to have
decision.
it. Right. Like to have a
Yeah. He,
decision, which we won't know. Kyle Dubas keeps his cards close to his chest. So will he
yeah.
tell us at the end of June? Probably not.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
we'll,
cuz that's the thing. If one of his guys is in the Stanley Cup final, that's early June.
doubt it.
So,
Yeah, that is true, and which I doubt because any team that is that we think are going to go win the Stanley Cup, those guys aren't anywhere near
they'll want to
available.
stay. Yeah,
Yeah,
they'll want
yeah,
to stay.
like not even like if they want to stay, like their contract won't allow them just to leave unless he says you got to fire me after winning a
Well,
Stanley Cup.
yeah, no, ooh, I'm sure there's some assistant coaches that have left after winning a Stanley Cup.
Oh no, I'm thinking head coaches. Sorry,
Oh
I'm thinking of
no,
head coaches.
I've never seen a head coach make a parallel move even after making the playoffs. I've never seen
What's
one
his name?
say,
The short bald guy who won with the Capitals. He won the Stanley Cup, and then they didn't want to pay him, and he left.
well, that's different. His contract was up. I'm talking
Yeah,
about
that's true.
guys. I'm talking about guys who are still on the team.
Sure,
I
that
don't think.
leave that
Yeah,
leave
yeah,
because they want to go. Yeah, that's true. It's very true.
yeah,
But regardless, we don't know who those people are. We can probably get a list together and kind of talk about it, but who knows what's going to happen? Who knows? The only person that kind of does is Kyle Dubas, and he's got to stick to his plan, and we're just eagerly awaiting his decisions and what he needs to do. So right now we have no one to lead the helm, to lead the team. We got Sidney Crosby, who wants to be in the playoffs and isn't. So if I was Kyle Dubas, I would figure out how to get those two things corrected. So get someone to lead the team, get Sidney Crosby in the playoffs, and I don't think you could bet against Sidney Crosby in the playoffs. He's always an opportunity to win the Stanley Cup. So as long as we
yeah.
get in the playoffs, I think we'll be good. Josh, do you have any last comments about Mike Sullivan and this press conference and this big news for Pittsburgh?
No, no. I think that is it. I think we kind of hit everything. Um, Yeah, I think like you just said there, just kind of just have to now wait and trust Dubas to make the best decision, because at the end of the day, it's all going to rest on his shoulders as the Pahogum. So,
Pahogum, president of hockey operations and general manager.
Yes.
See, is that more annoying saying it all out loud?
Yeah.
You could just say Pahogum.
Absolutely.
Just saying. I feel like he watches this podcast and goes, you know what? Pahogum does sound better.
He gets new business cards.
Yeah, like on his plaque at the office goes Pahogum, and we're like, that was us. We did that. But yeah, we'll see you guys.
Phonetically too.
Yeah. Exactly. It doesn't even say anything. It just says Pahogum, and people just got to figure it out. Well, what's Pahogum? It's president of hockey operations and general manager. It was dubbed by the Penguins Collective Podcast. Come on, dude. You know where we get all our information on the fans' polls for what they think. But speaking of, we're going to have some more episodes where we discuss things like the Pittsburgh Penguins and what we're doing. Maybe have a few guests on, talk about what we're going to do in the offseason, maybe a list of head coaches, maybe a list of players that we want to go get. Maybe there's a list of things that we shouldn't do and people we shouldn't bring back. All that stuff. We have a long offseason, so a lot of content's coming your way, and we appreciate you hanging out, chilling with us, and as we figure out, just like you, on what's going on. So thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you guys in the next one. Josh, as always.
Let's go Pens.
It's Crosby. Crosby on Kunitz and shot. Penguins win it!
Buckle up, baby. Are you kidding me?
We're a collective.